Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. And I want to wish everyone a very happy Friday afternoon. Hope you all are doing well. I am broadcasting live from beautiful Cape May County, New Jersey this afternoon. There we go. Still getting used to the afternoon. This afternoon via SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. I am very happy to have with me this afternoon Kevin Smullin, who's the founder of 2Q Lead Generation Strategies, and he's going to talk to us about, guess what, lead generation strategies. So if you are in a financial advisor or an insurance broker or agent or real estate agent, anything where you have to generate your own sales leads, Kevin Smullin is the guy that we need to talk to about such things. So I'm excited to have him with me this afternoon because because it's an area of business that doesn't, I don't feel as though it gets talked about a whole lot. You see a whole lot online about it, but you never hear anything from the horse's mouth. So that's what his company does. That's what he's going to talk to us about today. So I'm excited to hear a little bit about lead generation. As a matter of fact, there's one thing that he's going to say that I think is going to shock everyone who's involved in sales, which is why you should stop asking for referrals. And anybody who's involved in sales knows that referrals is kind of like sales 101. So I am very interested to know why in the world he is saying that. So we're going to talk to him in a few minutes. I do also want everyone to know that Mark Logan, who was supposed to be my guest yesterday, is safe and sound. He just moved to Seattle, Washington not too long ago, and the time change is both of us are not quite used to the time change. Yes, so I forgot he moved. He kind of forgot he moved, so to speak. He kind of forgot that I was on the East Coast and we had a time difference thing, but it's cool. He's going to be back. He's going to be here on Tuesday, I believe, is how that's going to shake out. So Mark Logan, founder and CEO of Titus Media, is going to be with us on Tuesday. But I'm happy that nothing happened to him. He's a super responsible dude, and I was surprised that I couldn't find him. That was weird. So I'm glad that he's okay. I was actually legitimately worried that something bad might have happened, because that's not him. I want to thank everybody on Facebook hi Ricky, including Ricky, who was watching and listening right now. Thank you very much for being here. And before we get to talking to Kevin, a bit of housekeeping. If you would like to find out in advance who is going to be on the show, you can always follow me on any of my social media. At Money Talk Mel is my Twitter, and at Money Talk with Melanie on Facebook is the Facebook. Is the Facebook? Is the Facebook. There we go. We'll go with that. Is the Facebook. Anyway, the Facebook handle. There it is. That's what I was looking for. That's the Facebook handle. Is at Money Talk with Melanie. I'm also on Pinterest and Google Plus, and I'm pretty much everywhere. On YouTube on SHR Media. By the way, speaking of SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio, if you don't want to do the Facey chat, if you're listening on Spreaker and you want to do the chat on SHR Media, feel free to meet me over there at shrmedia.com, where you can listen and live chat as well. So that's just something. And you can also chat with the other listeners, which is kind of cool. I like that. You can ask questions there. If you have any questions for my guests, that's a place you can put the questions, and I will certainly ask, as well as on Facey. So you can do that. It's a pretty cool thing. So you can meet me there, like I said, on shrmedia.com. Let's see, what else do we have here? If you would like to email me about anything, the email address, so you have it, is at moneytalkwithmelanie@gmail.com. So be sure to use that if you would like to email me at any time. So now, without further ado, the Money Talk News Report. Hey, Cynthia, no sound. I don't know why you don't have any sound. Hey, Ricky, do you have any sound? I'm asking other people in the chat if they have any sound. I've been having sound issues with my Facebook Lives. Not my Facebook Lives per se, but listening to other people's Facebook Lives, particularly on my iPad, actually. Oh, I'm sorry you don't have any sound. That's stinky. I don't know why you don't have any sound. I don't have it. I don't have it shut off, and I don't even know that I could, to be quite honest with you. But Ricky, let me know if you. Hey, Ron Edwards, how are you? There's no sound? You don't have any sound either. Must be a setting. Okay. That is very strange. I don't know why. I don't know why that would be happening. I have absolutely no. No, it's not just you, Cynthia. I have absolutely no clue why that would be happening. Technical difficulties for sure, but I will try to fix that. I can't imagine what setting that would be that takes away your sound off of your Facebook Live. But I was actually trying to play a Facebook Live last night and couldn't hear anything. And I didn't understand why that was the case, why I couldn't hear anything. And I couldn't figure it out. I played with my iPad for a while. And as you guys know, I'm a computer teacher. So that was that was extremely frustrating. I'm going to see, I'm actually going through another means, so to speak, to see if maybe I fix that situation. But that, nope, no, it must be my iPad. That's the only thing I can figure. I apologize for that. I'm probably going to have to stop this live stream, but you know what I'm going to do? I will post. Actually, I was about to do that anyway. Let's do it here. I will post the YouTube link so you can see it there. And I'm going to post that right now. I apologize, guys. Now I'm going to really have to fix it. Now I really want to know why it's doing that. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to end the live feed. I'm going to end that live feed anyway. And I'll post the YouTube feed. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the carry on to the Money Talk News Report. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, here we go. All right, so the Money Talk News Report off to just a fantastic start this afternoon. Anyway, okay. Here we go. So this morning, unfortunately, there was another terrorist attack over in the UK. And I don't even know. This is the 5th one this year. 29 people were injured. Just terrible. Just a terrible, terrible situation. So we really have to stay in prayer over these terrorist attacks. They really just want us gone. And it's serious business. In other news, on a much lighter note, Google's getting sued. You guys probably heard that they've been having major issues. There was a leaked report that women were getting paid a whole lot less than men. and that's obviously a problem, and they're getting sued consequently. So that's the situation. That's the situation there. The women are saying that they were not only were they getting paid less, but they were systematically denied promotions, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's kind of your. I don't mean to like not take it seriously, but it's kind of your typical lawsuit, and you see these your typical lawsuits of this type, I should say, and you kind of see these, often. I feel like these lawsuits, and they don't always have a lot of weight, and I just worry about that. I mean, I find it hard to believe that a company like Google would do that because it's so stupid. But that's just, but that's just me. That's just me. I'm just saying, it's just such a dumb thing to do, and it's an easy thing. No, it's not really an easy thing to prove, but it's just a dumb thing to do. Why would you do that? But I would think that it's a pretty hard thing to prove because of the different circumstances with each employee. And one of the biggest things that I always talk about when it comes to this type of thing is the fact that women typically, because they have the kids, because that's how God designed it, because they have the kids, typically spend a little less time in their lifetime in the workforce. So therefore, your accumulated amount of, years experience can be a lot less. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with that, but they're getting sued. So that's what you need to know about that, is that they're getting sued. Okay. All right. It's a class action lawsuit, and that's probably like the biggest thing you need to know about that as well, is that that's a class action lawsuit, and that's a big deal, when it's a class action lawsuit. But that also means it's probably going to be really long and drawn out. So, which is unfortunate. It's just a shame. So we'll hear more about that, I'm sure, as time goes on. Oh my gosh, I'm well over, because of my technical difficulties, I'm well over my break. So that concludes the Money Talk News Report. When we come back, we will have Kevin Smullin, and you are listening to Money Talk with Melanie. Here's to a much better second segment. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. We'll be back in a couple of. We will have Kevin Smullin, and you are listening. Sorry about that. Not going to have a better segment, apparently. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try our break again.
Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards book, in recent years, Americans have been more divided than any time since perhaps the Civil War. 49% of Americans clamor for a Venezuelan form of government. Even the Congressional Black Caucus members annually trek to Cuba for training on how to overthrow our constitutional republic form of government. 51% of Americans still believe in the possibility of an America that can be greater than ever. But when it comes down to it, we learn from natural disasters like the record-breaking hurricane of 2017 that no matter what, as Americans, we are at our best when we work together to find the best solutions to whatever challenges we face. Good and decent Americans from all sectors of society reflect the true nature of our republic. Sir Winston Churchill once said, "These are times that try men's souls." That certainly applies to those who have had to endure the loss of home, jobs, and in some cases, their very lives. But through it all, what may come out of this historic disaster is a reemergence of people learning how to reach out to one another and find real solutions that benefit our republic as opposed to destroying her. What was geared towards disaster may in many ways inspire a true rebirth of our republic. I'm Ron Edwards.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the tax benefits of different forms of financing, spot and fix errors in the 1099s, legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Start deducting today. Visit TaxMama.com. TaxMama.com. That's TaxMama with one M.com.
My name is David Barnett, and I've been helping people buy and sell small and medium-sized businesses since 2008. So far this year, I've gone on 5 vacations. It's because I've got my own business. When you get tired of being managed by someone else and you decide that business ownership is right for you without the risk of starting your own unproven enterprise, then come over to businessbuyeradvantage.com. There are over 100 YouTube videos on buying and selling businesses that you can watch for free. That's businessbuyeradvantage.com.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe, Hook Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk. Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio. The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America. And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Okay, we're back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette, and I believe that we have Mr. Smullin on the phone. Nothing seems to be working for me today, which is so strange because everything usually works pretty smoothly. Mr. Smullin, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. And you didn't get a link yet? An email link? Another one?
I did not.
It's weird. Okay. I sent another one like immediately when I saw your email. I immediately sent another one. I don't know why it takes that long to get there, but anyway, it should come from SHR Media. If you see it, grab it, and that'll be fine. I don't know why it's not going through. Anyhow, it's good to talk to you this afternoon.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying. It's great.
Yeah, I'm very glad to have you this afternoon because lead generation is, of course, very important to any type of sales job. If you're in real estate or you're in insurance or anything like that, where you really have to develop your own business. And so the audience knows Kevin's the founder of 2Q Lead Generation Strategies. It's a consulting business that helps frustrated real estate agents and other small businesses double their sales within just 12 months. So like I said, in opening, Kevin's definitely the guy that we want to talk to. He's got 15 years experience as a marketing consultant, and he has founded 2 successful marketing businesses, and he's trained thousands of people in this area. And so we definitely want to talk to him about lead generation. I'm excited to have you on the show. Welcome. I'm sorry that it was a little bumpy. I apologize for that.
Yeah, that's okay. That happens. It's not a problem. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Okay, so let's talk lead generation. And in the tease that I did in the beginning, one of the things that I noticed is that you said every business should stop asking for referrals. And I was like, what?
Absolutely.
I said, what? And anybody who's in sales knows that that's like sales 101, right? Always ask for a referral.
Yeah, it is sales 101, and it's something they should stop teaching in sales 101.
Okay, so I know it's kind of weird because referrals are usually like the last step in the sales process, but I'm going to start off with that because I think it's just so unique, and I really want you to elaborate on that thought.
Sure, not a problem. So here's why I highly advise, and it's one of the best things that any business can do is stop asking for referrals. Here's why. So let's imagine you're one of my past customers, right? So if I call you up and I say, hey, who can you refer me to that, is thinking about using my products or services, right? So if I'm asking you a question like that, which is really the standard that pretty much everyone teaches to ask for a referral, right? If I'm asking you a question like that, number one, do you enjoy me putting you on the spot like that?
No, not particularly.
No, you really don't, right?
Right.
And so think about this for a second. Oftentimes, the people that we're asking for a referral are usually, friends, family, past customers, but some of the most precious relationships that we have, right?
Yes.
And so with that, if I'm constantly putting you on, in the pressure like that, where I'm asking you for a referral, it's not going to take very long before you hate that experience and you're going to stop taking my call every time I call you.
Yes. And
so that's problem number one, is you're doing it at the expense of your most important relationships. And here's the second problem with it. Let's say, just for the sake of example, let's say you give me a name just to get me off of your back, right?
Right.
My question is, did you give me a name or did you give me a referral?
And then that poor person that whose name you got, you know what I mean?
No, you're spot on. And see, that's the problem, is I didn't get a referral because here's the point. Let's say you just say, yeah, go call Jane Smith, right? Well, Jane Smith probably has no idea who I am, probably has no idea what I do for work, and certainly has no idea why I'm calling. And the word we have for that situation in the industry is we call that a cold call.
Yep.
And so not only did I not get a referral, but I did it at the expense of the most valuable relationship that I have And so that is why asking for referrals is one of the worst strategies that any business or any salesperson could employ, is because not only are they not getting the benefit they want, but they're hurting they're hurting those relationships at the same time. So the solution for that is I recommend that people do something different called promoting a referral. And so promoting a referral sounds like this instead. So imagine we're on the phone and I said, by the way, you probably can't think of anybody right now, but if you come across somebody who would benefit from my services, would you please let me know? I'd love to have more clients just like you.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. That's excellent.
Thanks.
That's excellent.
And so that way I'm not putting you on the spot. And what's going to happen is it creates that mindset where I'm letting you know, yes, I do accept referrals, but I'm never going to put you on the spot and bug you for them. And this is just like a psychology thing. If I say you probably can't think of anybody right now, what I'm really saying is you probably can think of somebody, right? It's just like when you tell your kids, don't touch that, what's the first thing they do?
They touch it because they want to know why.
Or if I say, don't think of a shark, what's the first thing you think of?
Yep, indeed.
And so when I say you probably can't think of anybody, what's really going on in their head is they're starting to think of people. And it's funny, you'll have people that'll stop you and say, well, it's funny you say that. I actually can think of somebody.
And I can actually think of 3 people, not just one.
And so that's why that strategy works far better than putting people on the spot and saying, who do you know, who do you know, who do you know? People hate that experience.
That's true. And then you become like that guy or that girl who, like, every time they see you coming, you're like, they're going to give me the sales pitch again, which is kind of your job. But ooh, you don't want to be that person.
No.
No, you really don't. Okay. That was an excellent tip. And I found that to be, when I read that, I was like, what? What do you mean? So wait till I tell my salespeople friends about promoting referrals. Is that what you called it? I want to make sure that I said that right. Instead of just asking for referrals. So that's some valuable information right there. Okay. So now that we got that out there, I just thought that was the most interesting thing, and I wanted to hear about it.
Sure.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm happy to share it. Again, most people, they hurt a lot of those relationships that are really critical for building their business just because they're so eager to get a referral.
Indeed. Tell us a little bit about what 2-lead generation strategies does, because I want to make sure that I don't want that to be like on the end where you have to do it real quick. you know
Sure.
what I mean? So tell us a little bit about what it is that your company does specifically.
Yeah, perfect. So 2Q lead generation strategies, what we do is we work with a lot of the salespeople, small business owners, and what we do is we show them a 5-step marketing system that will help them become top producers in their industry. And oftentimes they'll double their business every 12 months just with these strategies. So our focus, there's a lot of companies that will focus on marketing for brand awareness or those kinds of things. But my focus is specifically on generating business. If it's not getting a lead or bringing new transactions in the door, then it's just not a strategy I want to talk about and focus on.
That makes a lot of sense. That certainly makes a lot of sense. Okay, that's good. Excellent. And your website is awesome, by the way. And I love places with excellent websites. Websites are always a challenge, right?
It is, yes. And I appreciate that. Thank you. It's been a labor of love.
It's very nice. Give us the name of the website.
Yeah, so the website is the company name, it's the number 2 and then the letter Q, which stands for both quantity and quality. So it's 2QLeadGenerationStrategies.com.
I love it. Okay, very good. So now, what is one of the easiest ways that a company or a business can stand out from the competition?
Oh, that's a great question. It's one of my favorite ones. So one of the biggest mistakes people make in their marketing is it's this mindset of, I want to be everything for everybody. And what happens is because they want to be everything for everybody, they try to create a marketing message that's going to appeal to everyone. And the irony of that is, the more you try to appeal to everyone, the less you actually appeal to anyone.
Yes.
So let me give you an example. So I do a lot of work in the real estate industry just because I have a lot of background there. And so real estate agents, when they're marketing their business, they'll give you this big laundry list of everything that they can help you with. I can help you buy, I can help you sell, I can help the first-time home buyers and the investors and the empty nesters and the commercial buyers and on and on and on. And what happens is it's this thought process of, if I tell everybody who I can help, then I'm going to get more business, more referrals, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is when you start thinking about the needs of each of those people, the first-time home buyer versus the person who's buying property to make money, the investor, they have different problems and different issues that they need solved. And so if I'm trying to appeal to everybody, how do I ever create a message that's going to resonate with all of those groups of people?
Right.
See, I don't know how to do that either.
Right.
But this is what happens. And that's why the more you try to market to everyone, the more you're actually marketing to no one. So to answer your question with that context, the fastest thing that people can do to start getting more results from their marketing and their lead generation efforts is to be specific. So, for example, if I was working with a real estate agent who wanted to go after a first-time home buyer, what if their marketing sounded something like this? I work with first-time home buyers who don't have the money for the down payment, and I show them 5 ways to overcome the down payment so they can buy a home today and stop wasting money on rent.
Now that's specific.
Right. And so that's the beauty of it, is because you've been so specific, one of two things will usually happen. Either, number one, the person that you're saying that to, or the person that's reading that on your site, whatever that message is, because you've been so specific, if they are part of that target market, then that's probably a problem that they're having, right? And so they'll often say something like, well, how does that work? Or how do you do that? And that's where a lead or a new prospect is created. The second thing that happens is, if they're not part of that target market, because you have been so specific, they start thinking about people that fit that category. And you'll often hear something like, well, you need to talk to my brother John. He's having a hard time with that. And so again, that's where a new lead or a new referral is created, simply because you've been so specific about what you do.
Right. And it kind of reminds me of, that old sales thing where they say, find the, and I really hate this phrase, but they say, find the pain area. Like I do. When I first got into sales, I was like, I don't want to find people's pain. I don't want to do that.
It's a similar mindset, but I talk about it slightly different. So the way that I talk about it is, if you want to create a great marketing message really consists of 3 things. So the first thing is talking about who it is that you work with. The second piece, kind of along the lines of a pain point, but I put it this way. I just say, think about the problems that group of people have, simply because people hire professionals to solve problems for them, right?
Yes.
So find the problem that they're having, and then the third piece is just simply, how do you solve that problem?
Right.
If people would actually take some time and figure out those 3 things, it'd probably take a half hour to sit down and brainstorm some ideas, but if they were able to get clear on those 3 things, people would be surprised at how much faster and how much easier generating leads would be for their business, just because people understood what they actually did.
Exactly. And frankly, that's how I got over that hump, if you will, of dealing with that, is because ultimately the reason why you want to find those pain points is because you want to solve that problem. The goal is to solve that problem, but it sounds like some really clandestine activity at first. You know what I mean? At least to me it did. I don't know. But I was like, wait, I don't want to find out what's painful to them and then capitalize on it. Like at first, that's what I felt like was being said, but that's not what was being. That wasn't the point. The point was so that you could help them. That's ultimately the point. But at first I was like, I don't know that I like this. I don't know that I want to sell anything to. I don't know if I want to look for people's pain stuff. That's not cool.
Yeah, that sounds a little self-serving. That's why I say I prefer to show people how I'm going to solve their problems.
Exactly. And that truly is what you do. But I think some of these so-called sales gurus out here who have somehow, gotten to some point in life where they have, no emotions left. They're like little transformers and just like making that money and not thinking about the people that they're helping, that they're serving, that they're trying to help. So I think a lot of it depends on style as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's just, find the pain point and then go in. Like, wait, no, I don't know if I'm cut out to do that. Okay, so this is inconsistency is a big problem with kind of continuing with sales with a lot of businesses. How can that be avoided so that you are getting results on a regular basis, particularly from your marketing? And how can you focus that?
Well, so one of the things about actually taking some time to figure out what your customers' pain points are is it gives you opportunity to be consistent in your marketing while solving a problem. So to kind of put that in perspective, here's a way of thinking about it. I've heard different numbers as far as how many ads we're exposed to every single day, but the one that I usually talk about, they say we're exposed on average to about 600 advertisements every single day. So it really doesn't matter what number you want to use, but we'll just take 600 for the sake of teaching. So let's say that you're exposed to 600 ads every single day. The first question is, how many of those 600 do you remember?
Oh boy, like 2?
I'd be surprised if it was more than 3 or 4, right?
Exactly.
And so the first lesson here is that 99% of all marketing has absolutely no impact on you whatsoever. And then people love that. That's really exciting, right?
Right. Well, not only that, but you have to think of the amount of money that is spent on marketing, and then you're going, really? Like if I'm like the head of a marketing department, or even like an accountant at a company right now, I'm going, wait, we spend how much on marketing?
I know, and that's really exciting conversation to have with them, isn't it?
Indeed, enthralling.
Okay, so now of the 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever number that is that you actually do remember, here's the second question. The second question is, why did those stand out to you?
Okay, there we go.
And the answer that I hear almost universally is, people will say, well, Kevin, the ones that I remember were the ones that were important to me.
There you go. Okay.
Or to say the same thing differently, they stood out because they were helping me solve a problem. So when we're talking about consistency of marketing, here's one thing I see from small business owners and salespeople all the time, is it's this process of the way that I'm going to convince you to do business with me is I'm going to tell you how awesome I am. So it's going to be, I'm an award winner. I've been in the business for 30,000 years. I've got, all of these sales that I've done or whatever. And so, they think that they're going to impress people with all their credentials and statistics and whatever that is, right?
Right.
And the truth is, at the end of the day, 99% of that means absolutely nothing to potential customer. All they really care about is themselves. And so if your marketing is focused on them and their needs, that's the fastest way that they can be consistent. So here's a real quick tip for your listeners about how they can figure out this consistency about this specific point right here, is they want to look at the ratio of I and we to you in their marketing. So if their marketing message is, I've been in the business for 30 years, I've won all these awards, I can help you, I, right? If it's I or we, and there's more of those than they're saying you, then I would tell you that their marketing is missing the point.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And that is so very true. Nobody really cares about, you have to convince them that they need you first before you tell them how awesome you are. You know what I mean? How are they even interested in how awesome you are if they're not sure whether or not they can be helped?
Totally.
Yep, that's good. I like that. That's good stuff. That's very good stuff. Okay, so that being said, what keeps, and this is huge, what keeps businesses from having more success on social media? And I'm sure there's a broad range of answers to that question.
Yeah, I can only give you one.
Right.
The biggest one that I've found is that somehow, somewhere, people have got the wrong strategy with social media. So here's the experience that I see from most small business owners, is they get bit by the social media bug. And so, like, for example, they'll hop on Facebook and they'll create a page that is, they'll start posting all this information, these quotes and videos and, their own blog contents or whatever it is that they do. And so post a bunch of stuff, and they'll do time. Sit down and ask them, you know, what the results of that were. Usually they'll say, well, you know, I got a few likes and I got a few shares and I got a few comments, and they're a little excited about that. And then you ask them the key question, which is, well, how much business did you do from that?
Yes.
And almost universally, the answer I hear is, I'm not, right? And so a lot of what's happening is people are just employing the wrong strategy. So a lot of what my customers are doing, like I'll show them how to generate at least 20 leads per week on Facebook using specific marketing campaigns. And so a lot of what they're doing is running an ad and then sending people off to a site that has information about a specific problem. And they're using that as a way of generating a lead. So just to be consistent with what I've said earlier, I gave you that example of how a real estate agent might introduce himself or herself as working with first-time home buyers, right?
Right.
So if I were running an ad and I wanted to target those people, I would target potential first-time home buyers. And then in that ad, I would be driving them to a web page where it said, would you like to purchase a home without a down payment? This free report will show you 5 ways to buy a home without a down payment. All you have to do is your contact information and send you this report. Okay. And so what happens is, because you're providing a solution to a problem that they're facing, that's what makes it so that people are willing to give you their contact information. That's where a lead is created. So one of the biggest strategies anyway, to answer your question, the biggest problem that they're having with social media is they're just using the wrong strategy. So it's this thought process that if I post tons of stuff, that's how people magically want to do business with. And that's just what doesn't.
Well, that right there. I mean, a lot of what I hear you saying has to do with how we focus our, how we aim our lasers, so to speak, how we focus our attention, if that makes sense.
Yep, makes total sense. And that's one of the big problems people have, is people are just too generic.
Indeed. Well, it's a lot of work to be, you know, to kind of individualize, but that work is worth it in my mind.
It is, and because it allows you to speak specifically to them, and because you can talk about their needs and their wants and what's bothering them, that's what makes it so that your marketing gets a better response. When it's generic, that's what dilutes the response.
Indeed. Now, do you have a preferred medium as far as social media is concerned? Because social media, there are tons of different social media now. You got the only one I think I don't use and I haven't tried yet is Snapchat. But you have Reddit and Tumblr, which are kind of a little more obscure. But I hear the cool kids are using it. I haven't tried them yet.
Well, then maybe I'm not the cool kid either. So
right, but you also have Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter, which are kind of the more conventional ones. When I taught high school computers, I was told by my students that Facebook is no longer cool because us old people have commandeered it. So
I don't think there's a magical answer to the question. I think a lot of it just depends on who your target market is. So let's say that, if you're listening to this and your business is more of a B2B, business to business type sale, then I would actually advise them to go with LinkedIn, because that platform is perfect for more of a business to business type environment.
Yes. I forgot about LinkedIn.
If it's more of a business to consumer, B2C kind of model, Facebook is great. One of the things I love about Facebook is, you've got all these users. Not only do they have a huge user base, but that huge user base is posting photos of them and their family and liking, the TV shows that they would like to watch and the movies. And so because people are readily sharing all this information about them, Facebook allows you to get really, really targeted with the advertising that you run. And that's one of the reasons I prefer that system.
Yes, indeed. I've used it. I know a lot of people who have used it, and really, when Kevin says that Facebook lets you really target market, it does. And the analytics that come back are really strong as well.
Yes, they are.
And for those of you who don't know what I mean by analytics, in other words, when you run an ad, you're able to tell at the end how effective the ad was, and really can assess why and as a matter of fact, the way Facebook does it now, you don't even have to go seek out the information. As soon as the ad is done, they message you the information to talk about how successful your ad is, or was or wasn't. So that's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's a great help.
Yeah, that's huge. So I can see why Facey's kind of a popular way to advertise, particularly since you can, and sometimes you're really maximizing your money that way, especially if you're targeting a specific audience with a specific ad. And you can also use that, as far as I know, to test market some things. Do you agree with that, about people using social media to test out something before they decide to invest in it? Maybe they're thinking about expanding their business or offering some other service. Can social media be used to do that, to kind of test that out?
Yeah, and very inexpensively as well, which is one of the benefits of it. I mean, running an ad on Facebook, and for the amount of exposure that you can get to a very specific person, the cost on that is crazy. So crazy low anyway.
Yeah, it is.
One of the great things about trying to expand, like you're talking about, using social media, is you can date a niche, so to speak. You don't have to be married to it. So you can test something, and if it's working well, obviously just keep doing more of it. But if it's not, you can test the waters and see what kind of response you're getting for a very low cost.
Indeed, you can, and you can also run polls and a whole lot of benefits to using something like Facebook. I hear Snapchat has like this whole sales program that I haven't touched yet. I don't know if you've touched it at all, but that seemed, I think I maybe aged out of this.
Well, I think that makes two of us. I haven't done much work with Snapchat.
Yeah, and listen, I had one event that I was at, and somebody asked me if I would Snapchat, if I would snap it, and I was like, yeah, sure, and I did, and it was fun, and it was great, and all that. But then I was like, okay, Snapchat, bye, because like I don't get the whole like it disappears. Like I can't wrap my head around that. As much as I know about computers, the thought that like I'm doing work that's going to not be there is not. I can't deal with that. I have a very hard time. I'm like, well, wait, but I did the work, so I want to go back and like look at it or whatever. And they're like, no, it disappears. It's gone.
No, I'm with you. I have a 16-year-old son, and him and his, for whatever reason, that demographic, they love Snapchat. I haven't figured out why.
Me neither.
But so he'll snap with his friends, and it's weird because they'll just send text messages back and forth, but they'll take like a picture of the floor and then write a message on top of it and send it. And I'm sitting there wondering, how is that different than a text message?
I don't know. And then there's no record of it unless somebody like screenshots it.
But I don't know. They seem to love it. So in response to your question, if you've got business owners and that's their target market, then that's probably the platform they want to be on.
You know what? You're probably right about that. If teenagers are your target market, that's a good point. Then maybe that's where you want to go, because there is this whole Snapchat for business thing. I've seen it advertised a few times, and I'm like, how can you use Snapchat for? I don't. I'm sure I need to read it at some point, but I can't. LinkedIn and Facebook, that's definitely more my speed. Even Twitter is not too bad if you know how to work it
Sure.
correctly. How do you feel about live, like Facebook Live and Twitter Live and Periscope and all that kind of stuff as far as working with your business? Do you ever recommend doing that as a business owner?
I do. So one of the things that's great about Facebook Live is something for your listeners, just some interesting statistics. So the number one search engine in the world is obviously Google. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
The second best search engine in the world is YouTube.
Yes.
And which is also owned by Google. Some people know that, some people don't. But the third best search engine in the world as far as rankings is actually Facebook. So the reason why I bring this up is because since Google owns YouTube, which is the number one and the number two platform, Facebook's wanting to compete. And so Facebook has made this huge push with Facebook Live, the live videos. where they've actually set it up where those videos will get a higher reach because they want to compete in the video space with YouTube. So when people do a Facebook Live, it's actually being promoted to more people through Facebook's algorithm and the formulas that they use to determine who's going to see it, because they want to compete in that video space. That's one way that people can get an added benefit, is because Facebook specifically wants to promote those live videos. So as an example of how somebody might use that as a strategy, again, I do a lot of work in the real estate community. So when I'm working with a real estate agent and they're holding an open house, one of the things I actually advise them to do is get to the property, 10, 15 minutes early, do a little walkthrough on a Facebook Live video and post that. And then there's a notification that goes out to all of their friends saying, hey, I'm doing this open house. Here's a preview of the house. Come check it out. And it just helps them get better traffic for what they're doing.
Definitely. Definitely. That sounds awesome. I actually I have a tech gremlin running around my studio today, because if I tell you that everything that could possibly have gone wrong technology-wise today I do a Facebook Live video every day of my show, which my listeners really like, and today there was no sound. I'm like, just randomly no sound. And then,
well,
of course,
it seems like today was the day.
Yeah, exactly. And then you with the Google Hangout, I'm like, what's the dark cloud? Like, what is going on in here? Because it's Friday? I don't know. Because I do this every day, and every day it goes really smoothly. But today it was like, no. So,
well, maybe it was me then. I don't know.
It was you, Kevin. No, it wasn't you. I'm sure you're fine. Thank you so much for putting up with that. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being flexible and being available today as well. I sincerely hope you will be back.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for calling in too. So since the link didn't come through, I appreciate it very much. And you have a fantastic weekend.
Thanks, you as well.
Yep, absolutely. You're listening to Money Talk